Bad Java with Waptek, and a full explanation of the Nibiru, Wormwood, Planet X, Planet 9 memes, and why citing the meme of ancient wisdom is a little bit weird. But here we go. I'm going to cover the first ones. Lots of people are saying thank you for the video, or good video. I appreciate this. Next. Someone corrected me not including a link I mentioned in the video. I normally cover everything. I watched the video. I made a mistake. I'm sorry. I also gave that person some extra information on how they could get away with dealing with the inevitable when someone impressionable sees the video of the cute little animal and wants to have one for a pet. There's a way to do it. Sent you a link. Next. Someone's noticed I wear mostly black clothing. I'll wear black until they come up with something blacker, but I'm not a goth. Also, I drink coffee and I'm clumsy. No, seriously, it makes it to where the stains don't show up as bad. Next, if you take nothing but black clothing and wash it in the washing machine, it doesn't get less black. Just saying. I literally have everything black because of that. If I want to make my clothes look newer, I just throw a bucket of ink in there. Anyway, next. And yes, I have one shirt that's nothing but polka dots and stuff because it's a pinhead moo-moo. Next one. I'm new to this info or disinfo, depending on how you look at Master 13's comment. What is the reason for this, you think? I know could have multiple reasons. Now, I'm trying to interpret the person's statement, and it was about the misinterpretation of the ISIS lens flare. So, here's my statement on it. With a varied level of experience, it's easy to guess correctly because you have lots of references to work with. If you're specialized or you have a limited level of life experience, however, it's important for you to find those with the experience that you can truthfully rely on. Like a photographer explaining lenses and cameras in this case, or in my case, having done it for a while, especially with telescopes, and also helped too many cinematographers who were cussing about, damn it, I can't get rid of the lens flare. Now we add them in with Photoshop. By the way, no one ever does that to anybody. That's a lens flare and it's Photoshopped in. You faked that video. They don't use the same standards. But anyway, I'm going to cover this. I'm going to make this much more simplified. The next stage of this is people who do not want to trust anyone decide they have no choice other than to do their own research, which is what all of you are doing if you're looking at YouTube and on the internet like I do. And they decide if they're told explicitly, no, you can't say such and such because it's wrong, they defiantly look for any way to explain it the opposite way they're told, because it's not that they just don't trust people. They want to inflict themselves on other people at the worst case scenario, or at a minimal level, they wish to defy them, mostly to play devil's advocate. But after a while, playing devil's advocate just makes you the devil. And you're not in the details. You're not covering anything. So that's what I have, what little wisdom I can pass on here is the general equation of this is that if you don't have experience in something, you have to trust someone with it, or you have to then do what they did. And the hard part is being told explicitly, first day, day one, when you walk into the classroom to get that multimeter and soldering iron to learn to do electronics, you're wrong. I had a lot of experience I had to unlearn because it was wrong. When you show up with no experience, you have to unlearn the idea that you're right at all. That means you spend a period of time, I think it's called mercurial stage, where you have to acknowledge you don't know anything. And people can't do this. We have a self-absorbed, what do they call it? Self-esteem based society that doesn't want to be esteemed by their peers. But they do. But they want to be the one who's esteemed without actually learning anything. So, Master 13, I hope that was useful. Hope I haven't wasted the last 4 minutes here. Next. Someone asked me, are you in danger in front of that coffee shop, etc., etc.? I was going to reply back, no, everything's fine. No, I'm not. Depending on where you are in a city, crazy stuff happens. And I've learned something. I used to be an extreme coward when I didn't have time to think about things. Now when I don't have time to think about things, I'm an extremely foolhardy idiot that gets called hero sometimes because I saved someone's rump roast. So, but that was a good steak. Anyway, or a mistake. I'm very cavalier because I've been through enough in my life, again, reference to varied level of experience, that I know that I can tolerate all sorts of things that you really shouldn't know that you can tolerate. The only thing worse than being afraid of absolutely everything, second group, and being afraid to try, third group, is being part of the first group that goes through it and truly understands that, yeah, I can actually survive things that you really shouldn't want to survive. You shouldn't want to think you can survive at all. Lots of people saying good video or thank you, and I appreciate the feedback. I'm just not used to it, so I don't know how to respond most of the time. So when's the wedding? There isn't going to be one. I'm a reformed romantic. I'm not a goth. Shut up. I'm not gonna no. I don't care if I'm the last man on earth. I'm not getting married to anybody. Lots of people commenting back, oh, this is too hard, I'd rather just believe, and then they come up with the very convoluted explanation they get from other videos and just laugh about it, because seriously, it's a real act of mind-twisting faith to believe in stuff that has been disproven and found to be dumb to say. And on that, I'm just going to do the next layer, and I'm going to try to get to the harder or more extreme response for the day. Someone else, I dared some people in one of my videos to go ahead and do it, and everyone's like, nope. Next one, don't you have a mobile observatory yet? I'm not a dark shed watcher. There are so many people out there doing that. I mean, the market's flooded. If I had a shed to hang, okay, if I get to where I can buy a chunk of dirt somewhere in Portland cheap, and put up my ideal home, which will not look like it's there, underground bunker, and just so I don't have to deal with people knocking on my door saying, hi, would you like to buy something? If I ever get to where I'm able to do that and, you know, put up a sign and sit there and say, don't come on my land, get off my lawn, yeah, I'll set up a telescope. I'll do it. It'll look like crap. It won't be able to get anything, but I'll experiment with it. By then, hell, we'll be able to get hand-me-down ones that are good. And thanks from a lot of other people that I'm not really sure if they really mean it. Can't tell if trolling. Next, response to a specific user who asks a real bucket of worms question, because he's asked it in a way he may not realize, or he or she, he obviously, has done. The questions of the day, inquiry of the day, or query of the day, Q of the day. Trey Higgins, this is your moment. So Nibiru's a hoax. All these lens flares and people put up. It's not Nibiru, it's just lens flares, right? It's all fake. What's going on? And he asked it a couple of times because he wants a definitive answer, and I told him basically yes and no. Here's your complete answer. History of the words that I'm going to use. Planet X, Planet 9, Nibiru, wormwood, and other. This is going to be a waste of time. I'm not going to stop the video this time, no matter who honks a horn. And here we go with the first one. Nibiru. Nibiru, like wormwood and others, are words from older languages. They're reinterpreted meanings or words, pronunciations. One of them is from Babylonian. The other one is just, I'll put them down below. The point to this is the modern meme is this. This is the modern meme, and I'm going to throw as many components in here as I can. Some scientist somewhere discovers some aberration in the way the planets orbit the sun, or other. It doesn't matter what it is. They pick it up off of a satellite dish or a camera, somewhere mysterious. This is part of the storytelling component. And yes, this is a scene from a movie. On their way back from the telescope, they mysteriously die. That's actually a scene from a movie someone's just replaying. And we find out later that this was hidden or suppressed information, and it could be anything from just this last week which is stupid because this is an extremely old story, or it's been hidden since ancient times and it's ancient wisdom. It's called Appeal to Ancient Wisdom. And here are the components of this star, planet, rock, whatever. It has an orbit that is so big around the sun, it's bragging about it, that it takes 10,000 years or more for it to come back. The reason for that is really simple. How old is modern recorded history? You see, if it's shorter than the duration of modern history, then you couldn't make such a claim. But also, if it's longer, how the hell are you making the claim that it has an orbit like that? You can actually estimate the orbits of things if you can see them. But if they've never been visible, you can't. And if it's something that far away from the sun, further than Pluto, ancient astronomy people wouldn't have been able to detect it. So then you invoke, oh, well, they had sci-fi abilities and satellites and space aliens told them. And for some reason, as it comes through the solar system, like a thief in the night, it'll cause whatever. And it can be from the Bible, the Quran, whatever. Yes, there are people who, even in every religion has this, every belief system has it, because they saw in the sky the following. These are the origin stories for the real origins for these ideas that were passed down through oral history, not written history, and became legends that were then codified into various books. Please look up the origin for the word book. Some of you already got the joke. Yes, all ancient, archaic knowledge about space has the following characteristics. It's misinterpretation of the sky, it's done through oral retelling, and it's done as storytelling to make it more interesting, which means by definition, it is fictional. It may contain a grain of truth, but you can't just use the fictional elements and run with it. This is like deciding Nephilim were 25-foot tall humans, when mechanically a human can't be 25 feet tall and look like a human. It would look like a 2-footed elephant. And then it would drop dead from lack of blood pressure because it mechanically couldn't have survived. There's a reason animals look a certain way and are a certain size. But anyway, here's the basis for this. Comets going through, and yes, ancient populations seeing supernova. Supernova are exploding stars. They're flashes of light that can last for a couple of seconds on the extremely tiny end of it, or weeks. Star of Bethlehem. That's the most likely scenario for a Star of Bethlehem story. Whether it happened at one time or another is not relevant. That's the most likely scenario to cause that. The other stuff about it always being in a certain position in the sky would just indicate that it's outside the solar system. The visiting planet meme is actually based on misinterpreting what a tailless comet is. But comets move really slowly, so it's probably something else that it came from. Okay, next. Origin stories for these. You can look them up. Nibiru is based on 2 stories. One of them is from an ancient Sumerian misinterpretation or retelling of a story in ancient Sumerian or Babylonia or whatever. And the other origin story is from Nancy Leader, who is the person who claims she was given this story by Pleiadians, aliens, by talking to her through her head. She's a schizophrenic. That's actually where that actually came from. Planet X refers to an incidence, it refers to a problem when you're trying to estimate the orbits of planets going around our sun, making mistakes estimating how heavy they are, and noticing that the orbit doesn't match the weight you've come up with. Now we understand that if the orbit says one thing, but you estimate the mass as another, you reinterpret the mass to match the orbit, because that explains it. You don't decide that it's being perturbed by some mysterious planet X, which turned out to be actually not really there because it was a mistake mathematically. Wormwood is based on a sort of pseudo-interpretation of a word in the Bible. Yes, that's a collection of short stories, oral retellings. And the last layer here is Planet 9 is someone literally retelling the Nibiru story I just told you as a meme, but trying to apply it to science currently, and he's a scientist. He goes by the nickname Pluto Killer because he helped demote Pluto. Those are the actual origin stories. They're not really fake or hoax. They're just excuses to control the narrative of a story. What would actually happen if a planet, a meme like this, came into the solar system? What's understood, because of the mass of these materials that we're talking about, is they would fall into an orbit and then leave. and probably not hit anything. Thanks for watching. Have a good day. Good luck with that.